Investing in Magic the Gathering product, sealed or singles? Which one's better and why? Welcome back to my channel. I am Mattcaster Mage, and if you're new here, please like and subscribe if you love Magic the Gathering. I do make content every single day, so hit that bell if you want to be notified for future uploads. So I was thinking about my sealed versus singles collection. I collect a bit of both, but I was thinking about the pros and cons of each. And yes, there is pros and cons of each that I think anyone who is serious about collecting or investing in Magic the Gathering has to consider while making these decisions. Now, singles, we'll start off with singles and then I'll talk about sealed after. So singles, when you're collecting singles, the good thing about collecting singles, as long as you're not keeping like massive bins full of bulk, which you obviously have to take care of, and a lot of people do have bulk. I have bulk too. I have bins stacked on top of bins full of bulk. But when it comes to single collecting, most people have their cards in binders. Now, depending on what those binders are, what make they are, what model, you don't want to be using like ring binders that can leave dents in your cards, because you have to be very, very careful about the conditions of your cards. Obviously, if you're thinking about buying and trading cards, these are all factors that you have to consider when you're getting those binders to put your singles in. Because ultimately, I think the two best ways to collect and invest and keep your singles protected is binders, or just getting them graded and they're in that nice hard case. And that way people can't really argue too much about the value of the card, because it's got a clear, defined grading, right? So if you have a card that's a 7, well, you can look on eBay and see what the average price is of graded 7 for a particular copy of card that you have. Obviously, you can keep your singles nice and compact with little collector albums. That's what I like to do. There's Ultra Pro ones that are cheaper, but for the most part, try to find things without rings, because those can dent or damage the cards that are inside of your binders, and you're going to want to keep your cards safe and secure, especially if you are investing in singles. Now, another thing with singles that I would say is better than sealed, but we'll talk about sealed after, is it doesn't take up as much space. It's really what it is. If you have a couple binders, full of valuable cards, that whatever, obviously that is whatever you'd consider valuable, might be different than someone else who makes more income, but a pretty substantial amount of value you can store in one of these little binders. Now, that's pretty compact. Obviously you don't want to lose this, but that's pretty compact. It's going to save up a lot of space, and you could have a binder this big and be worth thousands of dollars. Obviously you don't want to lose it, but for the most part, nice and compact. That's a great thing about collecting singles. Now, a con about collecting singles is obviously the conditions. They vary so much from collector to collector. If you're looking to buy cards off of someone, you may think that near mint is maybe different than his definition of near mint, and same thing is lightly played, moderately played. That's another one that people are not very specific about what defines moderately played. Some people will say that's light played versus moderate played, and vice versa. It gets very tricky. And that's why I think if you are collecting singles, and if that's the main form of investment you do with Magic the Gathering cards, you got to have some that are graded. That way there's not a lot of debate back and forth amongst a buyer or a seller. That way, obviously, it's pretty clear and defined what the card's value is, the monetary value of the card. That is a con of collecting singles, and is something you have to consider. So there's always going to be a lot of back and forth there, debating, what a card's value is. So, with that being said, let's get that out of the way. There's another thing that you have to think about when you're collecting and investing in singles versus sealed. Now, with singles, I feel like with singles, you need to basically either live on your own or own a house. You can actually rent as well. But for the most part, it's different for sealed. Yeah, I was thinking about sealed when I was talking about that, because sealed, I feel like you need to own your own property to own sealed products. like a lot of it, like, because it takes up a ton of space, and also that way you can monitor it. You know, you can pay for a storage unit, but those are very costly. And for the most part, I just think it's better to have the product on hand that you can actually look at. And if you own a house, you can dedicate one room, whether it's a man cave, to keeping your sealed product there that you can monitor on a daily basis. Because when it comes to owning versus renting, if you're renting, I would definitely recommend singles, because you can keep quite a lot of value in a few of these little binders, and that will actually, you know, maintain its value, especially if you're getting reserve list cards. Because reserve list cards, they will never be reprinted, and they're pretty scarce at the moment, and they're pretty valuable just in the fact that you can't print them again. And the older the set gets, the more value they will go over time. So if it comes with sealed versus singles, I think the main factor that people have to consider is obviously moving. Moving is a pain. If you rent, you're more likely going to move a lot more than someone who owns their own property. You know, you're not invested so much in the space that you live in. So that's why I think singles are probably a better bet for you to invest in long term, versus obviously sealed. If you own your own house, you're not going to be moving so much. You're not going to be damaging the boxes or the cases. And that's another part about what's great about sealed is when it comes to singles, you can always debate the monetary value depending on condition. If it's sealed, it's sealed. Unless the seal is broken or there's something going on with the seal. But to be honest, if you got that Wizards of the Coast logo and the box looks completely intact, there's not a lot of debate that a person could have about it when you're trying to buy and sell these sealed products. Versus singles, there's a lot. People can ding you for any little damage that they think is on a card. And again, that's why if you're collecting sealed, apart from having a few small, compact binders full of value, it's always good to have a few graded cards in your collection as well. Okay, that's all I really wanted to cover in today's video. I hope this was beneficial to you, and if it was, maybe you leave a little subscribe, like, and a comment, and let me know what you think about sealed versus single collecting, and I'll be sure to read it. And again, I will see you in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you enjoyed it that much, maybe you'd like to tip me. I have a PayPal link that you can send me tips if you enjoy these videos, and I can keep bringing them to you that way, and it could help my cardboard crack addiction. So please think about supporting the channel in that way. If not, subscribe, like, leave a comment, and I will see you again in the next video.